Hello and welcome to the April 2021 edition of What It's Like to Live with a Classic Mini. In this series I tell you about my reality of living with my 1994 Rover SPI Mini, including the money I spend and the work I complete to keep it in a daily driver condition. As this month saw another lockdown because of COVID, I decided to complete some small odds and end tasks on the Mini. First of all, thank you to Robin the Mini, who gave me some good advice to make sure I replaced the foam pads on the door straps. As you can see, the driver's side was in poor shape and it revealed a small spot of rust underneath. So, a quick rub down and a clean, and I applied some rust preventing paint. Then, it's a simple case of applying the foam seal, which sticks into place. The passenger side foam was in worse condition, but with no obvious signs of rust underneath. Again, a quick clean and then apply the new foam gasket. Job done. Next came the removal of the old Rover Badge and application of the new one. Now this was a very fiddly job. I used some WD-40 to try and lubricate as I removed the Rover Badge, and then I cleaned it as much as I could with WD-40 to remove as much of the glue that was there. Then, when it was all cleaned, I also gave it a polish to protect it before reapplying the new Rover Badge. I think it looks pretty smart. Right. I noticed when I drove the car in the dark that the lights didn't appear to be very bright. So I decided to upgrade the existing lights with some new quad-optic halogen lights. As anybody who has a Mini knows, replacing the headlights is a relatively simple task. Remove the chrome bezel and then the Phillips screws around the headlight bowl allows access to the lamps, which can then be unplugged from the electric circuit. To fit them is a simple case of then the opposite, plugging in a new headlamp unit, inserting the Phillips head screws, and then putting back on the chrome bezel. I use my dark garage to shine lights on the wall to complete some rudimentary headlight alignments. So a couple of months ago on my way to work, I had a rather hilarious situation where I tried to apply some windscreen washer and the stalk literally fell apart in my hands. I completed a temporary fix with some glue, however knew it wouldn't last forever. To replace this, all I had to do was to remove the steering column shroud, making sure you get the screw right at the bottom, and then, using a very small spanner, remove the bolts of the old windscreen washer stalk, unplug it from its electrical circuit. The installation of the new stalk is the reverse. I have been having this intermittent issue with the Mini. Every now and again, I seem to get a very lumpy idle, and here you can see a video of it as it appears to be hunting for idle. On occasion, the car can also seem to come very close to stalling. I know that this is a fairly typical, if unwanted, issue on SPI Minis and MPI Minis, and I did complete some initial checks of all the vacuum lines. I've replaced these fairly recently. However, when I took the car out the next time, it ran absolutely perfectly. Now I have had a couple of months with very low spend on the Mini. However, in April, the spending kicked off again and I spent £192 or $312. I purchased a weatherproofing for the door seals, as well as the quad-optic halogen lights, the new Rover Badge, the windscreen washer stalk, and as you can see there, a new steering rack. You can see now my cumulative spend analysis, and it's almost a 12-month spend, that I've spent £4,149 on the car, or $6,722. You can see my biggest spend is on parts for £1,972 or $3,194, and also maybe as an investment, tools for £689 and $1,116. Delivery fees still continue to haunt me, where I paid £766 in delivery fees or $1,242. Ouch. Looking at the parts still not fitted, you can see that I've got quite a list and almost $1,000 worth of parts to fit to the car. I have to be honest, these tend to be for parts that are on more complicated jobs. Looking at the parts not fitted, I would say the most important parts are the steering rack, where I have some play, and probably the brake lines, where they're starting to get a bit old and could do with being replaced. Looking at the distance and fuel economy for April, very pleased to see that the miles per gallon increased, and I also managed to do a few more miles with a bit more commuting to work. You can see the MPG is back up to near 30 miles per gallon, which is great. And also, a question I received is this is US miles per gallon, so when you convert to British miles per gallon, the story actually gets a bit better. So as you know, I tend to take a Sykes-Pickerphant reading after I do a decent sized journey, such as commuting to work, and here you can see the 2 times I took readings in April. One area to bring your attention to is that even after a lengthy 30 to 45 minute drive, the idle switch still shows as on, and I'd expect it to turn off. With the idle switch aside, everything else looks to be pretty much where I'd want it to be, albeit the RPM range is still a little bit high. So that completes the April 2021 update of what it's like to live with my classic Mini. I'll leave you now with some footage and some pictures of my commute to work, and I have to say, it's not a bad one. Thanks for watching, till next time.